It's 1:30, so can we get started? Chair Jack is unable to be with us today, so I'm going to be chairing the meeting, and Wendy's going to help me if I forget anything. And I'll try and keep track of people who want to speak, but if I happen an issue, just please wave your hands and arms and all so I can see you. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First, I'd like to recognize that we're conducting this meeting on the unceded territories of the Huipachesset First Nations, and we're grateful for the opportunity to do so. First, I'd like to do introductions. We can go around the room and staff and directors can introduce themselves so people that are participating by Zoom can know who's in the room. So as I said earlier, my name is Debbie Haggard. I'm the Vice Chair and the City Appointed Representative for the City of Port Alberni. And Marilyn, can you introduce yourself next, please?
Hi, Marilyn McEwen, Mayor of Ucluelet. Pleased to be here. Ada Sega, Director in C Long Beach.
Good morning, everyone. Wilford Coots, Host of the Track Room.
Penny Cody, Alberni Clayoquot Regional District's Road Lake Rep. Susan Roth, Beaver Creek Regional Director.
Good afternoon, Wendy Thompson, Corporate Officer for the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District.
Terry Fong, Chief Financial Officer for the Regional District.
Jenny Brunn, General Manager of Community Services for the Regional District.
Good afternoon, I'm Alex Dyer, Planning Manager with the Regional District.
Great, thank you.
And we also have Heather Thompson here. She's our
I'm
communications coordinator. There's no speaker over there, so.
Before we start the formal process of our meeting, I'd like to call on our Fire Services Manager, Charlie Starrett, to say a few words.
Hi. I'd like to take a moment to announce the passing of Assistant Chief Gordon Jones from the Beaver Creek Volunteer Fire Department. Gordy served as a 45-year member of the department. He was a founding member and had been assistant chief for as long as I've been there, which was 27 years plus. He was quiet and kept very much to himself, but was a fixture at the department and will be dearly and very much missed. At this time, I just ask you to take a minute of silence for Gordy and reflect on his memory. Thank you.
On behalf of the Regional District, I'd like to express our condolences to the family and friends of Mr. Jones. Thank you. We have an agenda in front of us, and there's a late item from our corporate officer. Do you want to just add that to the agenda, Wendy, under 7C?
Yes, and we'd like to add that under 7C. It's a news release about by-election for Chair Creek. And for those online, it is available on our website next to the agenda.
Is there any other eight items to be added to the agenda? Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
And seconder?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carried. Any conflicts of interest?
I have one.
Director Boyko?
Item planning item 91C, Charlie, rezoning. It's a conflict of interest for me personally, so I'll have to be out of the voting for that one.
Great, thank you. And any gifts exceeding $250 in value as per section 106 of the community charter? Great, thank you. So next on the agenda is adoption of minutes. The first one is the minutes from the Board of Directors meeting dated November 9th, 2022. Is any errors of our omissions? Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented? So Moved by Director Roth, seconded by Director Cote. All in favor? Motion carried. Okay, so next on the agenda is petitions, delegations, and presentations. First, we're going to have the introduction of a new staff member. Wendy, could you introduce?
Thank you.
please?
Yes, come on up, Rich. If you just hit the speaker, so everyone can see you. Great, thank you. I'm pleased to introduce Rich Tellianis. He is our new IT technician. Rich is experienced. He's an experienced IT professional whose IT career started with an outsourced IT company in Vancouver. He was there for over 12 years and supported a range of public and private sector clients, including local governments, car dealerships, country clubs, and forestry companies. The next few years saw him working as a network administrator managing the network for an international engineering firm in Langley, followed by several years working for the city of Surrey, progressing through a number of different IT roles. As a recent arrival to the area, he now resides in Cherry Creek. He is excited to be opening this new chapter of his life, working with the ACRD and raising his family in beautiful Alberni Valley. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. Welcome to the staff. And we have a couple presentations to make for some long-term employees. First, can I call on the planning manager, Alex, if you'd like to do a presentation?
Yes, thank you very much. I am very pleased to recognize Charity Halberd Dogs for 15 years service with the planning department. Charity has been the heartbeat of the department for many years, starting as the planning assistant and now in her current role as planning technician and bylaw enforcement officer. In her current position, Charity interfaces with the public in providing professional advice on development applications and on managing bylaw enforcement cases. So Charity has consistently provided what we like to call in our department wow service to the communities within our region. And I have personally had the privilege of learning so much from her over my time with her here at the regional district. So thank you, Charity, for everything that you've done and continue to do for us. And we are grateful to continue working with you. And because I have you here and I know you love being in the spotlight, I want to wish you a happy birthday for today as well. So thank you.
I knew it. Thank you.
This is empty box.
Okay. Do we need to keep the box?
And congratulations. And next, our manager of community services, Jen, you have a presentation to make as well.
Yes, it's my pleasure to recognize Matt McLeod, who is our water utility lead hand. I've worked with Matt since up my time here, and I've been so impressed with Matt. He has really spearheaded some amazing preventative maintenance in the water system, and spent so much of his time on call in wet, rainy ditches, fixing water mains that are broken. And I think a lot of the work he does is very thankless. So it is lovely that we get the chance to recognize everything he's doing for us. He really is a shining star in our entire organization. And I really enjoy working with you, Matt, and I'm glad to be working with you for hopefully another 5 years, 10, 15, we'll see. So
Thank you, Jenny. Thanks.
It's great to see so many long-term employees of the organization. That really speaks volumes for what a great organization it really is to work for. Next on the agenda, we have a delegation, North Island College, and they're going to give us some updates on the Bill 2026 and the Working Together initiatives. Excited to hear your presentation.
thank you very much. Vice Chair. I am Lisa Domain, and I have the honor and privilege of being NIC's president. And I'd like to introduce my colleagues, Tony Bellavia, Vice President Academic, and Diane Nogler, Executive Director of Community Engagement. Thank you so much for the opportunity to greet you all and to provide an update on things that are happening here at NIC in Port Alberni and on the West Coast. But I want to begin by congratulating all of you on your election and appointment to the regional district on behalf of all of us from NIC. We had the distinct pleasure of having the opportunity to engage with you all earlier this spring, and we're delighted to be able to provide a short update on some of the things we're doing in the hopes that we can continue to work so closely with the regional district. And so we'll go through a short presentation with you this afternoon. We, of course, are very honored at NIC. No, we have a little. Apologies, we're just working on tech. Of course, all of us at NIC who work here in Port Alberni and on the West Coast are very honored to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Huipetsak, Shuswap, and Yukluit First Nations on whose traditional and unceded territories the college's Port Alberni and Yukluit Center are situated. A little over a year ago, having listened to over 750 members of the communities that we serve, NIC developed a new strategic plan called Build 2026. And in that plan, the college made a commitment to a new mission, which is that we will work together to build healthy and thriving communities, one student at a time. And working together references not only our commitment to work with communities, but it is the name the college's Indigenous Education Council, which is comprised of the 35 First Nations on who we have the honor and privilege of serving, have chosen for the college's first indigenization plan. We've made a commitment for the life of the plan that we will work towards delivering BC's best individualized education and training experience. And we're here today to provide you with an update on that. We published some very ambitious plans a little over a year ago, and this is just a quick note to say that you can find a dashboard report for each one of those plans on the college's Engage site, which is at engage.nic.bc.ca. And there you can see our progress on each one of the outcomes and commitments that we have made in both of these plans. So I encourage you, those of you who may be looking for additional information, will be able to find it there. And we also want to just let you know that we've updated and created some new supporting plans, including a refreshed academic plan, which is widening our doorways, a new student health and well-being plan, which is the Care 2 plan, as well as just publishing Journeying Together, which we believe is one of the first indigenized international education plans. And you can find all of that material on the college's Engage site. And finally, I just want to make sure that you're all have in front of you a copy of Building Your North. Building Your North, we actually put together at the suggestion of Chair Jack, who wanted to see the programs and training opportunities that we have been doing in partnership with communities in the region. So we provided a selected highlight of some of those programs that are done in partnership with community, as well as a list of community partners. And we are very thankful that the Alberni Kalkuk Regional District is one of those partners in programming. So thank you for your support. I'm going to turn it over to Tony now, who'll provide an update on what we do here and some of our programs.
Great, and thanks, Lisa, and thank you for the opportunity this afternoon. So some comments from myself, and then I will be passing it over to Diane. So a bit about who we are, a bit of context, and a real emphasis on community-led programming and the collaboration that we do with our community partners there. So in terms of our location and where we're located, as we know that we have our main campus on Roger Street, where we offer a variety of programming. We also have our TiVo Vocational Center here in the Port Alberni region there. And just also want to stress that we're also in Yukluit. We have a center out in Yukluit that's run by our faculty member, Bill Morrison there. So a bit about who we are. Oh, and then just. Yeah. Right. And this slide here shows us, or is demonstrating a list of our programming in there. And one of the things we want to stress at North Island College is that we strive to be a very comprehensive institution, that programming that meets the needs of a diverse set of learners there. And that's very important to us there. So as you see, we have programming in a variety of health and human services areas, early childhood education, healthcare, and various other ones. We provide an opportunity for students to start at the first year university level. So university studies, they can do Associate of Science degrees, Associate of Arts degrees, which are two-year degree pathways. And those students will start with us and then in most cases transfer to another university to complete their degree option. However, we want to stress that we also have degree options, and students in this region can start with our digital business administrative certificate, do that fully digitally and complete the degree option at North Island College. We offer through our TIBO Center a variety of trades programming, very proud of those programs there. And then we also have programming in the upgrading area, adult-based education, and programming in the Department of Accessible Learning. Part of what I want to stress, that we want to stress today, is really the importance of the collaboration that we work with and how we work with community. And we're very fortunate that we have such strong community partners. So this slide here, and I won't go through it, but it's important for us to note that we are privileged to work in partnership with many Indigenous communities, as well as the school district, as well as friendship centers and many other partners throughout this region here. Next set of slides are going to go through a few examples, and I will go fairly quickly through these, so I leave some time for Diane here. In regards to some of those examples of community-led partnership, the first one is our Indigenous Language Fluency Certificate. Extremely proud. I'm going to use that word proud probably too many times, but I'm going to emphasize the work that we're doing with Indigenous communities in regards to language revitalization. So we have 2 cohorts going through a program now in terms of new childhood language there. So we're offering the programs. Most of them are digitally because we have students that dispersed and throughout the region here. So we have 17 students that are graduating in the first cohort, and we have another 21 students that have just started our second cohort. So in a matter of a year or so, we'll have close to 40 graduates in this program, and it's extremely exciting. The next one is our Early Childhood Education and Certificate Diploma, again, developed in partnership here. We have 12 students that have completed this program in the past year on the West Coast. This one's a very interesting partnership, in partnership with the Port Alberni Food Hub programming that we've been offering in the last year or so. This program right here was derived from funding from the Community Workforce Response Grant. And I'm going to use the word proud again. And unfortunately, Marissa Bennett, who is the campus lead at the Port Alberni campus, is not here because I know she would have been thrilled to provide further context on this program. But we are offering a supported entry-level Carpentry 1 program. It's a 14-week, I should say, intensive program in partnership with the New Childhood Employment and Training Program, ITA, and the Port Alberni Friendship Center. It was just on Czech News last night. I was able to watch the clip. I think it was a minute and a half there, and I'm hopeful everyone has seen that they're building the sleeping pods on 4th Street there. So it's a very exciting project. A few programs in discussion there. Again, our goal is to work in collaboration with community, and we continue to strive to offer relevant and high quality program here. So we have programs that we're working with the Hausa First Nation, Dividoc First Nation, Colloquiate First Nations, and upgrading and carpentry and health and human services there. So again, our goal is to work in partnership with our community. And the last for me is also wanted to mention that we are also striving to expand the number of international students that are at the Port Alberni campus in the region. We've had successful programming in early childhood education, We've had a cohort of graduates that have gone through the program and now are employed and working in the region. We have another group that are going through, and our goal is to continue to expand that, so we'll have more and more international students on campus here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Diane Nogler. I'm the Executive Director of Community Engagement for the college. And Lisa and Tony and I have just come from a community engagement session at the Rogers Street campus with over 25 local government, First Nations representatives, and nonprofit representatives in the Alberni-Clickwit region, talking about our plans for campus consolidation at our Rogers Street location. Wanting to make sure, true to our strategic planning process, that our goals for our students' success are the goals that are shared with the community for what you need in your educated and skilled employees in this region and what makes your community thrive. So our campus consolidation plans include a new Indigenous gathering place. They include consolidation of our regular programming, our trades programming on the Rogers Street campus. They include dreams for housing for students, both single students and family students on the Rogers Street campus. And again, this community consultation process is really, really important to making sure when we do talk to various ministries about these opportunities, that we're holistically representative of the future of the college in this region. So we had a wonderful session with community members this morning where we looked at 2 drafts of what the Rogers Street campus could look like if it was consolidated to be a home for most of our programming activities, trying to find a balance between programming that needs to be place-based in community, as well as programming where learners need a full suite of services, student support, and curricular and instructional support in a central location. So really vibrant discussions. Very happy to see so many community members out this morning. We are on a full community engagement push under Lisa's presidency at North Island College, and so excited that we're able to come back to you. It looks like every 6 months and give you an update, or as often as you'd like. We've had a survey out in community. The link is still live and it's on this PowerPoint slide, where we've had responses from over 200 people so far, and 75 of those have been external to the college throughout our region. So that link is still live. It has 5 simple questions about how the community members would like to engage with the college. And we would really love to have your feedback. I'm taking all this feedback over December and presenting it to Lisa's leadership team at the college for us to have a more vibrant and detailed community engagement strategy. So you can know where we're going to show up, you can know who is listening, and you can see some of these partnerships in action on an ongoing basis. So that's the end of our presentation. We really practiced it in the car to get it in on time, and we hope you might have some questions for us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa, Tony, and Diane. I used to work at Community Futures, which is right next door to your Tebow campus, and I used to go over and give talks once in a while about having the students start their own business when they finish their schooling. Yeah. Is there any questions from the directors? Director Cote?
Thank you. Really interested in the programming that you're providing to residents around here. Just a question about the TSHAT. They are doing a project right now, deconstructing the old Sproat Lake School, and I'm just wondering, was that part of your programming or is that separate?
Actually, we just had lunch with Ken and with Chief Watts, and we were just talking about their plans for the Somerville area. We are hoping to work with them in the future, of course, led by them if they so desire, around some of their training needs. But at the time, the work they're doing now, no, I don't believe are involved with.
Thank you. Director Beckett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the presentation. In John's slides under trades, there's two programs of interest, prep cook and professional cook. And the question I have is, in Banfield, we have the Marine Sciences Center with a large commercial kitchen feeding literally hundreds of students and faculty that visit the campus every year. And I'm wondering, is there a possibility to deliver either one of these programs through Banfield Marine Sciences Center? And I won't go into detail. I think you've got enough information that you may be able to get what I'm suggesting or inquiring about. So if I can get a response to that, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
I'll just start by saying thanks for the question. Yes, potential possibilities certainly open. We would appreciate and welcome the opportunity to discuss this further. So we have run culinary programs, prep cook programs in community. We have experience doing so. So Bob Hogan, our Director of Continuing Education and Training Program, also Cheryl O'Connor, our Dean of Trades and Technology, would certainly be open to the possibility. So hopefully we can connect, or we will connect, and we'll see if we can move this forward. So I certainly appreciate the question. So thank you.
Director Rickett, should we have our leads for those program areas connect directly with you?
I would appreciate that very much, and then I can discuss this potential opportunity with the director of the Marine Sciences Center, and perhaps go do a three-way after that. Thank you.
Great. Director Boyko?
Yeah, hi. I just want to say that when I left high school, I actually did a year at North Island College University transfer, and it's a great program, and it set me up for doing great things in the future. So please keep it up. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We're certainly very proud of the work that the university transfer faculty do here in Port Alberni, and know lots of people start their educational journey as close to home as possible, which is what we're all about. So thank you.
Director Coots?
Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment and thank you to North Island College for the new Toronto language program that's been created. The language revitalization is huge. Some of our dialects in Toronto are close to extinction. So that preservation and the accreditation of our elders and then becoming certified instructors was a huge move for North Island College. And I just want to thank you for the courage and the bravery for stepping up and making those moves to help preserve the new Toronto language in that fashion, and providing a program for those that aren't in our communities to be exposed, and opening it up to the broader community and the world on the whole. So I just want to say,
Well, thank you very much. As Tony said, Indigenous language revitalization led by Indigenous communities is at the very heart of what we're doing. Just hearing you makes me actually very emotional about the work that the NIC elders have done and the Director of Indigenous Education has done with community to support language revitalization across the college region, but here with the Newtown speaking peoples as well. So thank you.
Okay, Director Steers.
Yes, thank you through the chair. I just wanted a big shout out to NIC once again for the work they've done with our early childhood education certificate program with the District of Tofino. It's been very successful, and we have been able for the first time in a long time bring our center up to full capacity, and that couldn't have been done without the support to NIC and the program area, early childhood education. So just a big thank you.
And I'll just say thanks for the comment. We're thrilled that we can work in partnership with the community. So thank you.
And Director Cote, and another comment.
Thank you. I wasn't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I also wanted to comment about the language and give you a great promise for it continuing on. I had taken it a number of years ago and retained very little. It's a very difficult language to master. But it's wonderful. And also with your construction programs, knowing that what the province is trying to push forward at the moment with the creation of housing, we're going to need people that are qualified. I've been trying to get a roofer to fix a small roof, and they're talking next year sometime. So we need people trained as soon as possible. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I can't resist the plug, but we do have an Chinese language course for anyone who's interested in taking it Wednesday night. It's a digital course. You can take it from home. So just put that plug in. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming today and updating us. It sounds like you have a lot of raving fans in this room. So congratulations.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and we look forward to being able to provide you an update again. Have a great meeting this afternoon.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, correspondence for action. We have a request for appointment from the Suvakan Public Advisory Group. Could we get the corporate officer to speak on this, please?
Yes, thank you. This is an outside organization that we have membership on every year. So the 2022 representative was John McNabb, who is no longer on the board, and the alternate was John Jack. So they're just looking for a new appointee for 2023. And an alternate, sorry, appointee and an alternate.
Is there any nominations for the floor or anybody interested in this position? Okay. So is that a motion then, Dr. Roth? Okay. Okay, Director Cote will make that motion. Do we have a seconder?
Second.
Second by Director Coots. All in favor? Any opposed? Congratulations, Director Roth. Could we have a nomination for an alternate? Did Director Jack indicate he would like one to stay on at all, or?
He didn't indicate.
Okay. Or anybody interested as being an alternate?
Madam Chair, I would certainly move John Jack, given the fact that he's not here. That would be an easy a motion to move, Madam.
Are you still interested, Director Sega?
I'm sorry, this will take some time. If direct chair is John Jack is willing to do the support of an alternate, I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
If he's willing to.
Okay, so we'll make that a motion by Director Beckett and second by Director Sega. All in favor of the motion? Oh,
Just
Director Johnson?
Oh, I was just voting yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, so motion carried. And if he's not interested in doing the alternate, we'll just come back to the board then. Great, thank you. Okay, correspondence for information. We have a letter from the Shuswap First Nation, a news release from the Ministry of Citizen Services regarding internet services, and a press release regarding the Cherry Creek electoral area by-election. So maybe we could get the corporate officer to talk about the press release and just explain to the board and members watching about the process.
Yes, thank you. So on Monday, the Supreme Court met and sat and declared our election for Cherry Creek invalid, and that the Cherry Creek director seat be vacant until a new election is held. So staff will bring back a report at the next meeting to proceed with a new election. If there's any questions, I'm pleased to answer them. And the news release speaks more to the invalidity.
Thank you. Is there any comments, any other correspondence? Dr. Roth?
I'm just curious, does that mean like a home election? So there could be different nominations and.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
Move receipt of correspondence.
Seconder by Director Cote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, request for decisions and bylaws. First on the agenda is the 2023 ABICC resolutions notice and request for submissions. Corporate officer, can you speak to this, please?
Yes, thank you. So ABICC, the Association of Vancouver Island Coastal Communities, has put out a call for resolutions for consideration at their 2023 convention. It's being held April 14th to 16th in person in Nanaimo. So resolutions must be relevant to other local governments within the ABICC. It can't just be specific to one local government. So staff are asking if, being the deadline to submit your resolution is February 9th, and it requires board support. We're asking directors if they have topics they're interested in considering at the ABICC convention to submit them to staff. We're asking no later than January 13th. So that gives us time to put together the resolution and background materials required. Then we'll bring those to the board for consideration of endorsements and then forward to ABICC by their deadline of February 9th.
Thank you, Wendy. Director Cote, as president of the ABICC, do you want to comment on this at all?
I'd love to. So every year we have a few new board members. So every year ABICC collects resolutions from local governments within our area. And for them to be forwarded on to UBCM, they should be going through ABICC is the procedure that they'd like. UBCM would like resolutions to come forward to them. That convention and resolution period is in September of 2023. ABICC is April of 2023, so there's a bit of a time. I'm not sure that anybody is really that aware of resolution process, or if they have an issue that they would like to be bringing forward that is more than just a local issue. UBCM is really trying to pare down the resolutions that are coming forward to specific issues related to different topics that they are already working on, or something that's timely. They won't accept resolutions that have been put forward in the past. So that's where we'll be asking our staff to check and see if we have information on resolutions that have been put in the past on certain issues that we want to bring forward. Right now, I can't really think of anything that from the previous board that we're wanting to be bringing forward. We've had a number of resolutions regarding our agricultural community, bringing forward issues around water and avatar licensing, so that we could process animals close to home. So there's been different resolutions. If you have any questions about that, you could probably ask staff. And there is a very specific process on how to write up a resolution. I think it's in the package. And I think that's all as far as resolutions go.
Thank you. And if you do have something you want to bring forward, don't worry about having it polished. Staff will make it look excellent. They'll work on it. So if you bring forward the idea and the information, they will polish it up. Right, Wendy? Thank you.
That's correct. We will.
Director Coots?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I was just recalling some of the areas had concerns with water sustainability and through the watersheds, and the new ministry under Minister Osborne, the lands, water, and natural and I'm forgetting the last one, natural resources, I think is what it is. Their mandate is to help preserve and protect water from source to tap. And I'm wondering if it might be the time to push forward any of those motions. I don't know if it's a through the AVICC or we work through some other channels, but now would be a great opportunity to start garnering support or security for the watershed and the water availability for those communities. I only bring that to mind. I have a different system myself that I work through, but I wanted to raise it here because I just had a meeting with the ministry, reaching out to our nations, and now would be a good time to move forward on that front. Sure.
Thank you. Director Cote, did you have your hand up?
I was just going to mention also that they'll, just for a heads up, AVICC will also be asking for material for information that we could provide in sessions to our members at our convention. So if there's something specific on an issue that you'd like to hear more about, there'll be an opportunity to be asking about that as well. I bring that up because there's so many new members that this is an opportunity that having it just show up at a meeting and not being knowing about it beforehand doesn't give you much time to think about it. So our convention is a wonderful opportunity for educational process and finding out information and hearing from speakers that we want to hear from and that we can't normally get to our one local government. Also, there'll be nominations for elections coming very soon as well. So,
okay, would you like to read the motion, Director Cote?
Sure, I'll move that. Oh, I'm not on the right page. Sorry, just a second. Oh, that the Alberni Clay-Cut Regional District Board of Directors submit possible resolution for consideration at the 2023 Association of Vancouver Island and Coastal Communities Convention to the General Manager of Administrative Services on or before January 13th, 2023, and based on submissions received, regional district staff be instructed to bring back drafted resolutions and background materials for consideration of endorsement by the Board of Directors prior to the submission deadline of February 9th, 2023.
Thank you. Any other comments? Director McEwen?
Second.
Any other comments before we vote on the motion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Request for decision, Union of BC Municipalities grant applications for emergency support services and emergency operations center. And Karen Freedy, Protective Services Coordinator. Can you speak on this, please?
Yes, absolutely. Good afternoon. My name is Karen Freedy. I'm the Protection Services Coordinator with the Regional District, and I work in the Emergency Support or Emergency Services Department. Before the board today is a request for decision to support the submission of 2 grant applications that are available from the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund through UBCM. One is for the Emergency Support Services Program, and one is for the Emergency Operations Center. Application deadlines for these funding opportunities are in January and March, and we would like to request resolutions to submit grant applications. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Is there any questions from the board? No questions? Would somebody like to make a motion, please? Go ahead. Can you read the motion?
Yeah, I'd like to put forward the motion for the Union of BC Municipalities grant. Where are we here? That the Alberta Regional District Board of Directors apply the Union of BC Municipalities Community Emergency Preparedness Program Fund for emergency support services with interested grant partners. Lots of two parts.
Yeah, great. Any comments before we vote? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. If you'd like to read the second part of the motion, please.
That the Alberni Clark Regional District Board of Directors provide to BC municipalities community emergency preparedness program fund for emergency operations centers and training interested grant partners.
Second.
Second by Dr. McEwen. Any comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is request for a decision for landfill operations vehicle purchase. Manager of Community Services. Jenny, would you like to speak on this, please?
Thank you. Yes, so we are looking for the board to authorize staff to do a RFQ, request for quotation, to purchase a replacement vehicle. We have a 2011 Dodge Ram that has quite completely come to the end of its useful life. And so we would like to replace it with a hybrid vehicle. We are looking to do this as a request for quotation instead of a request for proposal, which is very appropriate because a vehicle is very specific. It's not something that can vary. So we have two resolutions for the board. If there's any questions, happy to answer this.
Is there any questions for staff? Would somebody like to make the motion?
I'll move that the Alberni Claycourt Regional District Board of Directors exempt the purchase of a new hybrid SUV from the UCRD's purchasing policy request for proposals process. And further, that the Alberni Claycourt Regional District Board of Directors authorize staff to undertake a request for quotation process for this purchase and delegate authority to the Chief Administrative Officer to authorize the purchase, provided it's within $58,500 included in the 2022 budget for the Alberni Valley Waste Management and the West Coast Waste Management Services.
Second.
Second by Dr. McEwen. Any comments or questions before we vote on the motion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda, request for decision, updated terms of reference, Banfield Water Advisory Commission. Can we have the Manager of Community Services speak on this again, please?
Yes, thank you. So we're looking to update the terms of reference. We're modifying it so the majority for the committee will be the quorum. We had it at 4, that brings it down to 3, which is easier when we've got a small group of people. And clarifying on ex officio roles and adding in a representative from the Banfield Community Affairs as one of the ex officios on the committee. And this is per bylaw, so we have to do an actual bylaw amendment to make these adjustments. So quite a few resolutions to get through on this one. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions from the board? Dr. Beckett, did you have any comments on this, or did you want to make a motion?
Now, I'm very pleased with the work that the committee and staff have done. Consequently, I'd like to make the motion or motions that the Alberni Claycourt Regional District Board of Directors approve the revised terms of reference for the Banfield Water Advisory Committee for 2022 as attached.
Could I have a seconder? Seconded by Director Roth. Any other comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'd make the motion that the Alberni Claycourt Regional District Board of Directors gives first reading to bylaw A1070-3 Banfield Water Committee Amendments 2022.
Seconded by Director Cote. Any comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Madam Chair, I would move second reading.
Seconded by Director Cote. Any comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Director Beckett.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'd move that the Alberni Quaycott Regional District Board, sorry, did I do 3 as well?
No, you're
No,
on.
sorry, I would move 3, Madam Chair.
Seconded by Director Coots. Any comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. And I would move that the Alberni Quaycott Regional District Board of Directors adopt bylaw A1070-3 Banfield Water Committee Amendments 2022.
Seconder?
Second.
Seconded by Director McEwen. Any comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Request for decision, Banfield Liquid Waste Management Update. Jenny, you're up again.
Yes, I have a few reports we'll be talking about today. And this is a great one. So a little background for the new directors. In Banfield, we have many of the properties are on septic systems or discharged directly into the inlet. Not all of those systems are working effectively, which results in a lot of really poor water quality in the inlet. This is a problem. We've been working on studies for a number of years to look at what the solution is for that. The Hawaii First Nation and Banfield Marine Science Center collaborated on a grant application and were successful in getting money in creating a wastewater treatment facility that is been commissioned this year. It receives wastewater from the community of Inaugural and the Banfield Marine Sciences Center. However, there is no sewer collection pipes in the ground for the rest of the community of Banfield, and we are looking at coming up with a community-based solution for wastewater in Banfield. We had received board support and some community works funding to proceed with a liquid waste management plan. The idea of that is that we get to engage with the community, discuss what the project will be, what the implications will be, costs, and really, because it is difficult when you're starting up a new service, for the community to basically gain support. So we started that process this year. We enlisted Urban Systems, who have done a lot of liquid waste management planning, and we met with the ministry in partnership with Hawaii First Nation staff. We've discussed it with them, and this is a unique situation, whereas in most communities, there isn't one solution. And in Banfield, there happens to be a wastewater treatment plant. And so a liquid waste management plan would be good, but because we aren't going to be presenting multiple options, the ministry had concerns that the plan actually might not be accepted and might not be the most appropriate. What we do need is we need community to assent to creating a service. So we can look at just doing a service assent process. It parallels what we would be doing with a liquid waste management plan anyhow. Versailles will be going out to the community, engaging with them, talking to them about their concerns and how we can solve the problem. And if the service assent process proceeds through 3 phases, essentially we'll be going out for referendum to do a service establishment. Now, once we have that, that puts us in good standing for grant applications because it verifies to the ministry and any other grantors that we have approval and support from the community, as well as the authority to tax to a certain amount. So it guarantees the amount that we can put forward and the amount that we're looking for grants. So we felt this was a significant shift in direction from the liquid waste management plan to the service assent process. We wanted to bring this back to the board to confirm support for moving forward. If we find during phase 1 or phase 2 of the service assent process that we're running into some challenges or we don't feel that there is a lot of community support, we can shift back to the liquid waste management plan process. So what we're planning to do if we receive board support is to undertake phase 1 and phase 2 and see what we get for support from the community and then make a decision whether we go for referendum or switch to a liquid waste management plan. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Dr. McEwen?
Just curious, I'm assuming that this refers to Banfield East and not to Banfield West.
We will be doing engagement with the entire community. They will look very different. And so one of the discussions we will have is, do we do a phased approach? So the wastewater treatment plant is on East Banfield. It will be easier to connect to, the cost would be lower, lots of different nuances versus what it would look like in West Banfield.
Next, we'll have Director Brokill, followed by Director Roth. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I have a question. I believe there was a referendum held on a very similar topic in 2011, I believe, where the population voted against joining the current system that's installed now. What will be the different plan moving forward to actually get the residents involved? Like, how much different will it be to get more community involved?
Excellent question through the chair. There was no referendum done in 2011. I do know just from reading reports that we had Stantec come and they did sort of like the first step in doing liquid waste management planning, but it never proceeded forward. And instead, that was, I think, at the point, and someone with more history could help me out here, that Hawaiian First Nation and the Banfield Marine Science Center looked to partner to create the treatment plant. I don't know the level of engagement that was undertaken at that time. Our strategy really is to talk with people and talk with them a lot. One of the barriers on this project that we can foresee is the cost. So we have very high cost estimates coming in. And one of the things we're going to be speaking to with the community is how much, because if we receive grant funding, then they're not all paying the full cost for connection. So we do have, one thing we can do is we can limit the taxing amount in the service establishment bylaw. So we could say that we would only proceed if we received X number of dollars in grant funding. And I think that that will address a lot of the financial concerns, which is probably going to be one of the biggest issues. We don't know if it will be successful, but we do need to work towards this and engage the community to come up with a solution. So we're aware of the challenges that it might run into.
Director. Okay, great. Thank you. Director Beckett, did you want to make any comments?
I did. Thank you very much. I think when I think back of our workshop last week, and I forget who spoke about what it is that directors need to focus on, not just our own areas, but regionally, and more importantly, what came out of it for me, one of the messages is to look 10, 15, 20 years down the road and make decisions that create a legacy that will be there for your children and your grandchildren. And I think that dealing with wastewater is absolutely critical in the Banfield community, especially given the pollution of the inlet. So a couple comments. I think that Director Boyko made a good observation, regardless of the fact that it wasn't a referendum. The community had some input early on when Hawaiian and Banfield Marine Sciences Center first proposed this. I think the community was scared off at the cost at that time, and I don't think that, or do not believe that we were as creative as we could have been in rolling that out or having those discussions. With respect to the west side, I absolutely believe that if we're going to look at wastewater disposal, we have to go to 30,000 feet, and we absolutely have to look at what the opportunities are for the west side, especially given the growth. That's where there's an awful lot of potential development that is going to be happening. It's already started. And I think that we would be remiss if we didn't, take a look at what that could possibly be, recognizing that the body of water creates challenges for the removal of the product. But still, again, I think that we have to go to that 30,000 foot view. And I think the other thing is Jenny, talks about us and we, and I'd like to, make sure that we're talking about the partnership between ACRD, Hawaiian, the feds, the province, and then I think that translates into potential grants and perhaps Hawaiian taking the lion's share of infrastructure costs. But I'm getting way ahead of myself with respect to where this study and work may end up. So with that chatter, I would like to move that the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors support proceeding with a service assent process for the implementation of a liquid waste connection service for the community of Banfield.
Thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Director McEwen. Is there any other comments or questions before we vote on the motion?
I would just like to add, if I can, Madam Chair, I am so thrilled that we're moving forward with this. Regardless of what happens, this is the right thing to do for our community to explore opportunities.
I 100% agree. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, planning matters. This is for Victoria area directors. First on the agenda is Banfield Water System Development Cost Charge Bylaw Review and Update. Jenny.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can dive into more details about DCCs if there's interest by the electoral area directors, but essentially what we're looking for is to do first and second reading to update the development cost charges for Banfield. We've engaged Coors, we've done an extensive engineering study and report to determine what the appropriate fees should be. The last time they were updated was 1997. As is recommended in best management practices for developing DCCs, we've taken this to the Community Affairs for public input and consultation on Monday night. We had an excellent discussion with them. There was a few questions raised, but no major concerns. We will be doing another community engagement next Monday evening. We have frequently asked questions available on our website, and we're basically engaging with the community to make sure that they're comfortable with these changes. And it looks like everyone is, and I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Any questions? Dr. Beckett.
Thank you. Before I go to the motion, and again, I'd like to thank staff for the presentation they made to Banfield Community Affairs the other day. I am a little bit concerned. One of my neighbors obviously identified that the existing infrastructure, their home and property was only served by a 2-inch line, and that isn't enough water for the proposed addition of 2 cottages on their property. And you answered, you articulated a response to the question, but does it end there? And is there a possibility that while we're receiving additional money through this DCC bylaw, are there other opportunities for this individual to be successful in putting those cottages in?
Through the chair, when it comes to development in different areas, Banfield is a little bit different than a lot of our water systems where it is unusual to have a 2-inch water main. 6-inch water lines are the standard minimum size. And in Banfield, we completed an infrastructure assessment and it showed a lot of the sizes of mains are just not large enough to meet minimum fire flow. So we have our highest priority, of course, is replacement of under the submarine west main transmission line. And then beyond that, we will be looking to address all of these basically undersized lines in order of priority. We really are limited in our reserve funds for capital replacement right now. So if we were in a different situation where we had a lot of money, then we could start to move these forward. It's going to be, well, it may or may not be slow. As development occurs, we will collect money accordingly. And then that money will go into the bank. And once we've saved up enough and we've collected some money through water fees, we will replace on a priority basis. We really would be remiss if we were approving any additional demands on water lines that can't service them. We've been trying to work both through building and through community services to discuss with this individual any creative solutions because we feel the situation is very unfortunate, but without basically taking on any risk or liability for the water system or the other customers. So In this case, we still have not come up with a good solution. I did ask, and I don't know if we've come up with anything, but we're still discussing it and trying to come up with some creative solutions. Potentially, like servicing through a well or other private water system might be the only thing left at this point.
Thank you. Did that answer your question, Director Beckett?
It did, Madam Chair, and if I could respond by saying that I think that speaks to the value and the good work that staff have done with asset management and determining risks within our communities. And it also speaks to how important DCCs are in helping to provide a bit of a buffer for those rainy days. So thank you, Jenny and staff, for all your work. And with that, I would make the motion that the Alberni-Payacott Regional District Board of Directors gives first readings to the Banfield Water System Development Cost Charges Bylaw F1157 2022.
Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Director Roth. Any other comments or questions before we vote on the motion? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried.
And Madam Chair, I make the motion that the Alberni-Payacott Regional District Board of Directors gives second reading to the Banfield Water System Development Cost Charges Bylaw F1157 2022.
Seconded by Director Cote. Any final comments or questions? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next on the agenda, Banfield Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw, Memorandum and Bylaw P1445. Can we get the planning manager to speak on this, please?
Happy to. Thank you, Madam Chair. So as part of the zoning bylaw review project, amendments are proposed to the Banfield Official Community Plan to align OCP policies and objectives with the updated draft zoning bylaw. This bylaw is the first of 6 amendment bylaws that are being considered by the board for each of the 6 existing OCPs throughout the region. A public hearing for this bylaw was held on October 18th, and the board received the public hearing report and gave the bylaw second and third readings on November 9th. The minor amendments to the OCP are summarized in the staff report, and a line-by-line list of the updates are included within the bylaw. I also want to highlight that the consolidated version of the Banfield OCP and the updated maps with third reading are both linked to the ACRD board meeting website, and hard copies are also available here in the boardroom. One of the things I want to highlight in the public hearing report and in this report, and also discussed during the November 9th meeting, the agency referral responses that were received ahead of the public hearing generally expressed support for the amendment bylaw. There were some questions that were raised by agencies and First Nations about the zoning bylaw review project as a whole. And I just want to highlight that staff have engaged individually with each of these partners and stakeholders to work on how these questions can be addressed as part of the updated zoning bylaw or as part of more comprehensive updates to the OCPs, which we hope to undertake in the near future. At this point, in staff's opinion, there are no additional referral comments to be addressed as part of this Banfield OCP amendment bylaw, and staff recommend that bylaw P1445 be adopted. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions or comments before we move forward? Director Beckett, would you like to read the motion, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd make the motion that the bylaw P1445 Banfield Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw be adopted.
Seconded by Director Cote. Director Cote.
Thank you. Happy to see this moving forward. It'll help move along the zoning bylaw motions as well. And just want to comment that Sprout Lake OCP bylaw amendments the public hearing will start on December the 5th, just in case someone is actually watching this.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next on the
Madam Chair, I think we'll need a few minutes to get Janice to put Fred in the waiting room.
Okay, right.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, he's gone. Next on the agenda, RB 22001, Boyko 8109, Wilhelm Road, Beaufort. Alex, would you like to speak on this, please?
Happy to. Thank you. A public hearing was held on October 19th for a rezoning application, as Chair Hager noted, that relates to a property located at 8102 Wellham Road in the Beaufort area. The applicants intend to rezone a 5.7 acre portion of their property located outside of the agricultural land reserve to Acreage Cottage Residential 1 district, which would allow for the development up to 4 rental cottages on that portion of the property. There were 4 letters from the public that were received ahead of the public hearing that expressed general opposition to the rezoning application, noting concerns about increased traffic, potential for fire risk, impact on fish habitat, and increased trespassing on neighboring lands. The applicants also provided a submission that addresses the concerns that were raised and outlines strategies that are intended to mitigate those concerns. And I'll also highlight that there was a member of the public in attendance at the hearing that expressed their support for the application as well. The agency referral comments that are included with the minutes recommended approval of bylaws or noted that their interests were unaffected. I also want to highlight that if the board does proceed with second and third readings of the bylaws this time, the applicants will be required to provide confirmation that there is adequate water supply and capacity for on-site sewage disposal to accommodate up to 4 cottages. And recognizing the information that was given at the hearing and the referral agency comments and the conditions of rezoning approval that have been applied by the board already that intend to mitigate the concerns that have been raised and have been talked about. At this time, staff are recommending that the board proceed with second and third readings of the bylaws, as well as receiving the public hearing report and minutes. Happy to answer questions.
Is there any questions? Director Sega?
Just with reference to the water and the sewer, because it's right on a creek, right? And we know that a lot of sewer systems are leaching into water supplies. Is there any provincial environmental concerns about habitat?
Yeah, thank you for the question. If I may, through the chair, we do have development permit areas on the property, which encompass the riparian areas surrounding natural water courses that do exist on the property, and any development within 15 meters of those natural water courses requires an assessment from a professional biologist. I will highlight, though, that on this property, the natural water courses and the natural wetlands that are in place are on the western end that are inside the ALR. And that area is not being rezoned or developed. The portion that is under application today is the east 5.7 acres or so that's located outside of the ALR, and there's no mapped natural water courses in that area. With respect to the sewer and the water, though, the province is the regulating authority for on-site sewage disposal as well as private water system, and they have Island Health has responded to the agency referral and has noted that they're supportive of the application, provided that they meet the Drinking Water Protection Act requirements. And the applicant is working on that right now to confirm that they have adequate water supply on site. And then with respect to the sewer, the applicant is required to provide an assessment from a wastewater professional that is certified by Island Health to speak to those matters. So both the sewer and the water and the environmental protection are technical matters that are considered as part of this. Sure. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, I greatly appreciate the explanation of what I was reading, was trying to sort through.
Great, thank you, Director Roth.
Yes, I'm just curious if, say, there isn't an adequate supply of water, will it just end there? After, if we approve the second and third time today, like, how would that work?
Appreciate that. Thank you. It's a great question. So the following public hearing, with agreement with the applicant, they could reduce the density that's asked for on the property. So, for example, right now, the zoning would allow for up to 4 cottages. If they don't have the capability to service either through water or sewer, they have the ability to restrict, we have the ability with the agreement of the owner to restrict those number of cottages to a lower number. And that's something we've done in the past. Alternatively, if they wish to change their use or change their zone to a different zone, we would likely be going back to a second public hearing and then re-advertising that back. Thanks.
Is there any other questions from the directors? Director Roth, you're the closest one to Beaufort, so would you like to read the motions?
Sure. Okay, that the Board of Directors receive the public hearing report.
Seconded by Director Cote. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Go ahead.
That the Board of Directors receive the public hearing minutes.
Seconded by Director Cote. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Go ahead.
That bylaw P1450, Regional District of Alberni Clayoquot Zoning Text Amendment Bylaw be read a second time.
Seconded by Director Cote. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Go ahead.
That bylaw P1450, Regional District of Alberni Clayoquot Zoning Text Amendment Bylaw be read a third time.
Seconded by Director Cote. All in favor of the motion? Oh. Did you want to speak or are you pre-voting? Voting? Any opposed to the motion? Motion carried.
That bylaw P1467, Regional District of Alberni Clayoquot Zoning Atlas Amendment Bylaw be read a second time.
Seconded by Director Cote. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried.
That bylaw P1467, Regional District of Alberni Clayoquot Zoning Atlas Amendment Bylaw be read a third time.
Seconded by Director Cote. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, Janice, can you let Director Bokiel back into the meeting, please? Nice to have you back. Next on the agenda, RE 21019 Andel 6287 Lamarck Road, rezoning application memorandum and bylaw. Manager of Planning, can you speak to this, please?
Happy to, thank you. This is a rezoning application for a property located at 6287 Lamarck Road in Beaver Creek area. The applicants intend to rezone the 2.2 acre property to acreage residential RA3 district to allow for subdivision to a 0.6 acre minimum density as supported in the Beaver Creek OCP. A public hearing was held for this rezoning on October 3rd, at which no concerns were raised. The bylaw was given second and third readings by the board on October 13th. There were no conditions of rezoning approval that were applied by the board or highlighted as part of the agency referral process. In this case, and in staff's opinion, all conditions of rezoning have been satisfied, and staff are recommending that the board adopt bylaw P1463. Thank you.
Any questions at all? Director Roth, would you like to read the motion?
That bylaw P1463, Regional District of Alberni Clayoquot Zoning Atlas Amendment Bylaw be adopted.
Seconded by Director Cote. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda, RE 21020 Oceania 6535 Plested Road, rezoning application memorandum and bylaw. Planning manager, can you speak to this, please?
Thank you. This is another rezoning application in the Beaver Creek area, this one at 6535 Plesser Road, as you heard. The applicants intend to rezone a 1.3 acre property to the acreage residential RA3 district in order to subdivide the property in half. The Beaver Creek OCP supports a 0.6 acre minimum in the residential use designation for this property already. A public hearing for this bylaw was held on October 2nd. No comments or concerns were raised by the public at the hearing, and the bylaw was given second and third readings as well on October 13th. A condition of rezoning approval that was applied by the board in this case was the confirmation from a registered on-site wastewater practitioner that the property is capable of accommodating on-site sewage disposal to meet that minimum 0.6 acre density. The applicant has now provided that to staff, and we do have confirmation and assurance from a wastewater professional that sewage can be accommodated on each of those proposed lots. So with no additional requirements highlighted as part of the referral agency process, and staff's opinion, all conditions of the rezoning have been met, and staff recommend that the board adopt bylaw P1464. Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Director Roth, would you like to read the motion?
Sure. That bylaw P1464, Regional District of Alberni Clayoquot Zoning Atlas Amendment bylaw be adopted.
Seconded by Director Cote. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda, RF 22005, Fawn Brundell 5447 Maybell Road, Cherry Creek. Manager of Planning.
Thank you. This rezoning application relates to a 2.8 acre property in the Cherry Creek area at 5447 Maybell Road. The owner is applying to rezone their property from the current zoning, which is small holdings A1 district, to a split zone of acreage residential RA3 district and cottage residential RC1 district. That would allow for a 1.6 acre residential lot to be located at the east end or the rear end of the property, and the addition of up to 4 rental cottages on the remainder of the property with the existing house. This rezoning application is accompanied by an amendment application to redesignate the property from rural use to residential use in the Cherry Creek official community plan. And that would be in order to facilitate the 0.6 acre minimum density. The Cherry Creek Advisory Planning Commission considered this application at a meeting that was held on October 13th, where the ABC passed the motion to support the application as presented. Staff recommend that the board include as a condition of rezoning approval, again, with this one, that the applicant be required to provide confirmation from a wastewater professional that the property is capable of accommodating on-site sewage disposal to allow for both the 0.6 acre lot that would be created and up to 4 cottages on the remaining 2 acre portion of the property. Staff are initially supportive of the board proceeding with the public hearing process for this application, and recommend that the board proceed with first reading of the bylaws now and delegate a public hearing to be held. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Director Cote?
I'll make the motions. That bylaw P1454, Cherry Creek Official Community Plan Amendment bylaw be read a first time.
Seconded by Director Roth. Any other comments or questions? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Please go on.
I'll move that bylaw P1455, Regional District of Alberni Clayoquot Zoning Atlas Amendment bylaw be read a first time.
Seconded by Director Roth. Any other comments or questions? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Please go on.
I'll move that the public hearing for bylaws P1454 and P1455 be delegated to the director for electoral area F, or the alternate director, or the chairperson of the regional district.
Seconded by Director Roth. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Go ahead.
I'll move that the board of directors confirm that adoption of bylaws P1454 P1454 and P1455 is subject to a confirmation from a registered on-site wastewater practitioner that the property is capable of accommodating on-site sewage disposal for up to 4 cottages and for subdivision to a minimum 0.06 acre residential density, and B, meeting technical referral agency requirements.
Seconded by Director Roth. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, staff reports. We have a meeting scheduled for December 2022. Could I have a motion that the Board of Directors receives the meeting schedule for December 2022? Moved by Director Cote.
Second.
Second by Director McEwen. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I might be wrong. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but do we not have something on December the 1st? Is there something on the 1st?
Yes, there is on December 1st. There's an orientation session for directors, and it's a planning session deep dive.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and also there is a electoral area directors committee meeting. I don't have, sorry. I've got it here.
Oh, that was canceled.
I think that's. Yeah, that's at the end of November, November 30th. There's an electoral directors committee meeting as well. But the AV was canceled.
Oh.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. Committee reports. I was wondering if you could just explain to some of the new members about how the committees work and when they're appointed.
Yes, so in January of every year, members of the board get appointed to various outside boards and committees, such as the 911, Vancouver Island Regional Library Board. So once a month, we get directors to report out on these organizations. Now, we have some directors that, for example, Director McNabb was on 911 and is no longer on the board. So we've just removed those for this meeting. But in January, we'll have new appointees and add them back on. So we've just left on the ones that are still representing on these organizations. For example, Director Cody is still on the Regional Library Board.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we'll go to member reports. Vancouver Island Regional Library. Director Cote, would you like to have a report?
Thank you. I have no report. They haven't met yet, so.
And Alberta Valley Chamber of Commerce. Director Minions, are you there?
I am, and no report today, thanks.
West Coast Aquatic Board, Director Steer.
Yes, I do have just a quick, I had conversation with the director, Tawny Lamb, and there are a few things that have happened over the last few months. Salmon roundtables are continuing, and the facilitation, the development of the provincial coastal strategy, the intentions paper. I did, in speaking with Tawny, and I thought it might be of some benefit to the board, and especially with new board members on, is that we have Tawny come and give a presentation to the board at a later date. To give an update as to what it is that the organization does and some of the more recent updates as to the work that they have been doing.
Great idea. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the Association of Vancouver Island and Coastal Communities. Director Cote.
Thank you. Just a couple of updates. We do have a new executive coordinator, Heather Donaldson, and Marilyn might know her from the West Coast. Hasn't. No? Okay. We're thrilled to have her. She has great experience and knows the island. So she's off and running for working to get our convention going. Because I am the president of AVICC, that makes me an appointed executive director on UBCM, of which we just had our first meeting. And I'd like to let you know that I'm appointed to the Health and Social Development Committee, also the First Nations Indigenous Committee. I sat in on the Environmental Committee and the Convention Committee. Lots of good information coming forward. So we worked on our work plans for the year. So lots coming forward. We had a meeting with Minister Cullen regarding housing, and the next day, Premier Eby was sworn in. So lots of changes that are coming. Maybe a cabinet shuffle. We'll see. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Director Cote. Any other reports from any directors? Could I have a motion that the Board of Directors receives the member reports? Moved by Director Coates, seconded by Director Cote. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carried. No unfinished business, no late business. Any questions from the public? Any questions in Zoom?
Madam Chair, we do not have any attendees online today, so no questions.
Any questions in your email?
No questions.
No questions today. Okay, so we're going to make a motion to close the meeting to the public as per the community charter, sections 91F, law enforcement. If the board considers that the closure could reasonably be expected to harm the conduct of an investigation under our enforcement of enactment. Section 91J, information that is prohibited or information, and if it were presented in a document, would be prohibited from the disclosure under Section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, 21CI of the Freedom of Information Protection and Privacy Act, harm significantly the competitive position or interfere significantly with the negotiating position of third party.
I'll make that motion.
Could I have a second? Second by Director McEwen. All in favor? Any opposed?